What's up, everyone? Welcome to the channel. I'm Mickey. Today I'm going to talk to you about what a cycle count is, how to do a cycle count, when you should do a cycle count, and basically tell you everything you need to know to get your cycle counts going in your warehouse as soon as possible. So the very first question is, what is a cycle count? So a cycle count by definition is when you or one of your warehouse employees go out to the warehouse and you count a subset of the inventory in your warehouse. So for example, let's say you've got 3 bays in the warehouse. It's when you or one of your employees goes out and counts 1 bay or a few bins within a bay. It's basically a count of a subset of product in your warehouse. That's what a cycle count is. Now, when should you do a cycle count? Basically, a cycle count is used to be able to put accurate inventory values into your accounting system. This means that you're going to know in your accounting system how much value or dollar amounts you have of inventory on hand right now. So that when you should do a cycle count, you should do a cycle count anytime you want to refresh your books, to put in a fresh dollar amount for inventory in your books. So that normally happens at the end of the year, at the end of the month, or at the end of an accounting period. That's one time you want to do a cycle count. The second time you want to do a cycle count is when you expect one of your employees or you suspect that they're stealing from you. Whenever you suspect that they're stealing from you, you want to go do a subset of your inventory in the warehouse to see if indeed they are stealing from you. So the next point is, what exactly does a cycle count do, and how do you find out if your employees are stealing from you? Basically, the cycle count is going to record the difference between what your accounting system says you have on hand and what you actually counted. So let's say, for instance, you've got 10 of item A on hand in your warehouse according to your accounting system. Let's say we're using QuickBooks in this example. Now you're going to go out to the warehouse and you're going to count 8. The accounting system expected 10, you counted 8, that means you're short 2 cases. Now, that loss you're able to write off, but you don't know if it was due to an error in receiving or if it was that somebody walked out with the 2 cases. Now, obviously, over time, the more cycle counts you do, you're going to find out how over or how short you are. Okay, so what you want to do is just keep doing these cycle counts to get an overall count over a longer time window to determine if you're super short or super over. Normally, when you're over, it means people receiving the product aren't doing a good job. When you're super short, that normally means that somebody is picking your items and withdrawing it from the warehouse and stealing from you. So hopefully that answers your question as to what does a cycle count do. Now the next question is, how do you physically go out and do a cycle count? So there's 2 ways to do this. Option number 1 is you can take a clipboard, go to a section in your warehouse and start counting items. Now this seems pretty primitive, but it's how most of our customers work. You want to pick a category, go out to the warehouse in a zone or in an area and start counting. So let's say you're counting your frozen goods, go into the freezer, start counting. Now, when you return with that clipboard back into the office, you want to go into your accounting system and do something called an adjustment. This adjustment's going to calculate the variances between what you had in the system and what you actually counted equals what you're over or short. Okay, and that adjustment is going to tell you exactly how much you're either getting stolen from or how bad of a job your receivers are doing at receiving product. So that's how you physically do a cycle count, the first approach. The second approach is if you have a warehouse management system, normally you can go to the warehouse with a gun, you can go scan the product, the system will tell you, hey, you should have 20 on hand, and then if you put in 10, the system will automatically send that adjustment into your accounting system. Now, because this is a cycle count, it means you're counting a portion of your warehouse. Now, this is a little disclaimer. What happens if you walked into your frozen area and you count 100 of item A and you send that cycle count into the accounting system, but then the next day you count an additional 5 of item A? What you want to do is a merge between those two cycle counts, because in reality, your total count is 105. So keep that in mind. Anytime you count item A on one day and item A on another day, you want to make sure that those values are merged on the same adjustment so that your inventory is as accurate as possible. Now, how do you physically key in these cycle counts into your accounting system? What you want to do is, let's say you're using QuickBooks, for instance, you want to go to inventory and go to create adjustment or adjust inventory / on-hand values. When you go into this screen, you'll be able to put in the item and what your count was. Now make sure that you backdate that adjustment to when you actually did the count. So if you count today, but you don't have any time to key it in until the next week, for instance, you want to make sure that you backdate that adjustment to today so that the system can calculate from that adjustment moving forward any inventory transactions. Keep that in mind. When you go key in the adjustment into the accounting system, make sure you backdate to when you actually counted. So I think that covers a really rough overview of what a cycle count is. If you have any questions, I'm here to help. Hit me in the comments down below and I'll get back to you with an answer to your question. Please hit the thumbs up button on the video and subscribe to our channel. I'm going to try to do as many of these videos as possible every day to help you and your company. We look forward to seeing you next video, guys. Take care.